do to limit stress?
What do I do when that paper is in front of me?
What should I remember while writing?
How do I prepare for my exam?
What can I do to manage my time effectively in the exam?
I bet these are questions that you ask yourself all the time. And the more you ask yourself these questions, the more you panic. And the more you panic, the more you lose focus.
Definitely, Tash. But let's face it, writing exams is stressful. But it's just one of those things in life we have to go through.
That's right, Asanda. And all these questions are really important. But the problem is, we don't have all the answers on how to cope during this period.
Well, we do. Learning Channel has created an ultimate exam survival guide.
Yep, a survival guide that will answer all the exam preparation questions that you need to know before you write your exams.
We've taken 10 of the most asked exam questions by Matrix and visited schools to see what some of their learners had to say.
And these 10 questions make up the Learning Channel's ultimate survival guide. It contains all the tips that you need to know on how to prepare for your exams.
How to use your time effectively in the exam,
How to manage your stress levels.
and what to do when that paper is put in front of you.
Well, Asanda, are you ready to explore our survival guide?
Oh, I definitely am.
16 grade 12s. 10 questions. 1 goal. Success. Chapter 1.
How should you manage your time effectively while preparing and studying for the exam?
They say
All my exams are
So
come properly.
basically, I balance my time out between the activities that I have to do, the sports activities as well as the studying.
I study the night before because I prefer working under pressure, which really works for me, but it doesn't work for other people. Try study mainly for like the bigger subjects. I study more for and then just revise everything else.
we say.
Make a commitment to yourself to focus on the exam and study hard. Do not let unimportant things distract you. Work out a schedule that is realistic and do your best to stick to it. Set up your revision timetable by counting all the pages in your study guide, notes, and textbook, and dividing them into the days left before you write your paper. This provides a rough indication of the amount of work to be checked every day. Know what is the most effective study method for you. Do not waste time trying to study in a way that you find difficult or ineffective. Do not procrastinate. Wasting valuable time you could use to study at a comfortable pace means rushing and stressing later. Allow enough time to relax, exercise, eat, and sleep between study sessions to ensure that when you study, you can really focus, concentrate, and remember what you're reading. If the amount of work you have to cover seems overwhelming, try subdividing the work into smaller sections that you can work through one at a time. Work enough time into your schedule to allow you to write all the exam papers. This will show you in which areas you are still unsure of something and help you to focus further studying on the necessary sections.
Chapter 2.
What can you do on the morning before your exam to prepare yourself physically and mentally?
They say
Sleep and you maybe wake up earlier and just go over all the work that you studied the night before.
So I have my all bran flakes. I have to have my all bran flakes.
I don't know about eating in the morning because I feel it's something that can cause you to be maybe lazy during the exam.
we say.
Wake up refreshed after a good night's rest. Give yourself enough time to get ready. Ensure that you have a good breakfast or lunch if you write in the afternoon to boost your mental activity, concentration, and energy levels. Do not brainwash yourself negatively by telling yourself that you do not know your work. Remain calm and focused.
Chapter 3.
How can you reduce the stress of an exam session?
They say
It's not going to come out well on the other side. When if you prepare for an exam session, then it naturally reduces your stress because you know that you've prepared and that you're going to be able to answer the questions well.
Just concentrate. Now I'm going to write, and I trust that I studied enough and I'm going to pass the test.
I do the rosary because I'm a Roman Catholic. So I do the rosary, which helps me meditate, and then I just relax.
we say.
Ensure that you know your schedule and that you're there in good time. Running late causes unnecessary stress. Avoid discussing the work with your friends before you enter the venue. It might confuse you. Go to the bathroom before you enter the venue. You don't want anything to distract you while writing.
Chapter 4.
How long before the exam starts can you still study?
They say
Would be fresh in your mind and not what you've done. Don't study the morning before the exam, or I don't study the night before the exam either, if it's for that subject.
I think until about 10 minutes before the exam.
You should be finished your studying at least the evening before, and then the next morning you can read over your work, but it should not be studying, it should rather be revision.
we say
Only do revision the night or morning before the exam. Don't attempt to learn complex new material at this stage, as it will only confuse you. Avoid cramming at the last minute. Give yourself some time to relax and calm down before you enter the venue.
Chapter 5.
What do you need to take with you into the exam venue?
They say
all the necessary instruments that are going to be needed for you to proceed with the exam.
Pen, pencil, ruler, Tipp-Ex.
And you need to take your self-confidence is one of the most important things, I think.
we say
Have the necessary equipment ready. Enough and extra pens, pencils, and any other equipment you might need, such as a calculator, a ruler, and an eraser. Remember, you are not allowed to use correction fluid. It is a good idea to have a watch, so you can keep an eye on the time to ensure you plan your time correctly. A bottle of water and tissues can be useful, especially during long sessions.
Chapter 6.
What must you do first when the exam papers are handed out?
They say
Look at the paper. Look at the paper, then write your name.
Scan through the paper to see which question I am familiar with, which question I'm sure that I will be able to answer.
I read the question carefully before I answer them.
we say
Listen carefully to all the instructions given by the examiner. Read through the written instructions and the whole paper to get an overview of the questions. If there is anything that you do not understand, now is the time to ask. Ensure that you have all the pages. Check if you have a choice in which questions you have to answer. You don't want to miss a question or waste time by answering something unnecessary. Try to determine, according to the marks or level of difficulty, how much time you will need for each question, especially for longer questions. Then try to divide your time to allow adequate time to answer and review everything without rushing or not being able to finish your paper.
Chapter 7.
What must you remember while answering the paper?
They say
Remember that.
The stuff that you have studied.
Firstly, you must have a neat handwriting.
I must only answer what's being asked, not everything. Not just write like a whole essay on something that's just a simple answer.
we say
Work neatly. If the examiner cannot read what you have written, you cannot get the marks for it. Try to organize your ideas in a logical way before writing them down. Follow instructions in the examination to the letter. Don't answer more or less than required. The examiner is looking for particular knowledge of the subject material and doesn't want to search for the correct information in your answer.
Chapter 8.
What can you do to use your time effectively while writing?
They say
Okay, start with the question that you mostly understand.
Plan your time as to I'm going to do this first in the first 30 minutes and this in the next 30 minutes so you can finish your paper.
Trying to be as fast as possible, but as effective as possible too.
we say
Avoid getting demoralized at the start. Remain calm and start answering the paper systematically. If you become too anxious, stop, switch off for a few minutes and unwind. Focus on breathing slowly with closed eyes. Return to a calmer, clearer state of mind and then carry on again, one question at a time. Underline keywords and instructions and make sure that you don't skip any questions or answer unnecessary questions where you have a choice. Read the question carefully and answer what is asked. Answering a question that wasn't asked means no marks. Attempt all questions. Even if you don't know the answer, make an intelligent guess. You might get a few marks you would have missed otherwise. However, do not spend too much time on a question you are unsure of. Rather move on to something you do know and return to that question later. Plan longer questions to ensure that your answer is logical and covers everything asked in the question.
Chapter 9.
Should I review my answers once I've completed all my questions?
They say,
If you can, it's good too, but rather from the get-go. Work slowly through the questions and answer the questions well, and then not have time to go back and review the paper.
You should, because we all make mistakes and you gotta make sure that everything is correct.
If you do not review your paper, you could be losing marks.
we say.
It is a good idea to take the time and go over the exam and check your answers. Ensure that you have answered all the required questions and covered everything that was asked in the question. Do not change anything unless you are 100% sure the first answer was wrong. Your first answers are usually, but not always, correct.
Chapter 10.
What should you do when you leave the venue?
They say,
In the past,
Over and done with.
don't rush out and grab your books and see, have I done this right? Have I done... It's unnecessary stress.
Time wasted is time never gave back. So I just concentrate on the test that's coming up next.
Scream, cheer.
we say.
Avoid discussing the exam. It will only make you worry when you hear what your friends answered. Review how you coped with the exam situation. What went well in your overall approach? How did you handle anxiety? How was your time management and planning? Ask yourself how you can improve in the next exam. Then try to put the finished exam out of your head and look ahead to the next one. You can't go back and change anything, so stressing about it is futile.
I know why they call it the ultimate survival guide now.
That's for sure, Asanda. If you would like some more information on a more comprehensive Grade 12 DVD series, check out our website at www.learn.co.za.
I'm so ready to write an exam right now, Natasha.
So am I, Asanda. But unfortunately, that's it from us, guys.
Focus,
Breathe.
study hard.
You will succeed.
This is all about you. Good luck, guys.